Did you know that the term writer's block was first introduced to the literary community by psychoanalyst Edmund Burglar in 1947? Hi, I'm Shaylin with Readsy, and today I'm going to be sharing 9 ways to tackle writer's block. Number 1, develop a regular writing schedule. Writing in a consistent and frequent manner helps you keep up momentum, and it teaches you to make your productivity and your creativity a habit rather than a phenomenon. By keeping up a regular writing schedule, you train yourself to be more reliable, so that you can write anytime instead of waiting for inspiration to strike. Step 2, don't worry about your language. Sometimes you know exactly what you have to write. It's written out in your outline, but you have no idea how you're going to say it. When I encounter a block like this, I like to use what I call the most simple strategy. Basically, I just write the scene as simply as I possibly can. Even if this means my sentences are repetitive and boring and monotone and it's kind of just a really vague expansion of my outline, I've gotten the scene out and I can move on to a scene I feel more prepared to write and come back to this one later. I find writer's blocks are usually just attributed to a certain scene that I don't know how to write, and getting past that can help me move on with the story. And usually when I come back to the scene later in the editing phase, I've moved on from this weird block I had associated with the scene and I can flush it out then. Step 3, jumpstart your creativity. Try to break out of your regular schedule and habit by doing something immersive and different. Going out and having new experiences can provide you with inspiration or material to use in your writing. Number 4, try doing a free write. A free write is when you write without any intention or plan or pause. So you can set a timer for a short time, like 20 or 30 minutes, go somewhere where you won't be interrupted, turn off your Wi-Fi if needed, put your phone on silent or in another room, or you can even try writing by hand if it'll really keep you from getting distracted. And then you just start writing. Sometimes I like doing free writes by starting with a prompt, usually from a photograph, so it'll give me a vague image or setting I can work off of, and then I'll just start writing and see where it goes. Sometimes it doesn't turn into anything except a means to help get you back into the habit of writing, but sometimes free writes can actually inspire some pretty cool ideas. I also like free writing in forms I don't normally write in. So for example, I'm not a poet, but if I'm really stuck, I'll try writing some. So then I can kind of detach myself from any expectation of quality and just write something. So if you're normally a fiction writer, try writing poetry, or if you're normally a poet, try writing some creative nonfiction or an essay or a play or anything different from what you normally write. Number 5, don't worry about making your first draft perfect. Even though we hear this mantra over and over again, sometimes it can be really hard to detach ourselves from the idea that our first draft doesn't have to be a literary opus. Sometimes the worry can come from the fact that if you don't get the scene perfect now, you'll never get it perfect. And keeping track of all the things you know you need to do with the scene, but that you're not really sure how to do now, can give you a bit of assurance that you're not going to forget and you're going to be able to come back to this later. 6, try writing out of order. Now, lots of writers normally write out of order, but lots of us are also chronological writers. And if you're really stuck and you normally write your story linearly, sometimes it can help to jump forward and write a scene you feel more prepared to write at the current moment. Even if once you're done that scene you can jump back to your normal chronological process, it can just help you jumpstart your writing process again. 7, don't write for other people. Sometimes it's a worry of other people's judgment that can really affect our productivity. Sometimes you know what you want to write and maybe you even know how to write it, but you get caught up thinking about the fact that people are going to read this and maybe they're going to judge you and maybe they're going to think you're a terrible writer and maybe you should stop writing forever. So what I like to do is write something with the intention to not show it to anyone. I've written entire novels this way, where the entire time I was writing, I just told myself, I'm never showing this to anyone. This is just for me. This is just to get the story out. No one will ever read this. And writing something knowing that no one would ever read it really helped me just get out of my head and write the darn thing. And in the end, I did end up showing those works to people because just writing it with that mindset helped me actually write something better than if I was writing thinking about what other people would be thinking. 8, reignite your plot. You don't normally outline your work. Your struggle with writer's block might be the result of just simply not knowing where to take the story from here. You might have written yourself into a bit of a corner or feel like you've written your plot to a point of stagnation and it's not really moving. So what you have to do is reignite it by giving yourself new opportunities to explore. Introduce a new character or new setting, something to provide you with lots of options you can work outwards from. Or jump into the past and write a flashback to explore an aspect of your character without having to worry about how it's going to mess up the actual chronology of your plotline. And 9, switch up your tools. You could try writing by hand if you normally write on the computer, or try typing if you normally write by hand, or try writing on a typewriter if you want to feel super cool. Or you can try using a different application to see if something will click with you. I'll leave a link to 5 different apps that might be helpful if you're struggling with writer's block in the description. If you want more information or to revisit anything in this video, we've got a blog post linked in the description covering everything I just talked about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.